Far away from Earth, on a wild and strange planet called Velar, the sky was always cloudy and red. Strange trees grew tall, and rivers glowed with soft light. It was the perfect place to hide. And that's exactly what the last group of humans had done. Rian stood on top of a small hill, holding an old scanner in his hand. His face was calm, but his eyes stayed sharp. He looked at the broken satellite tower in front of him. It needed fixing again. Power had dropped last night. Without it, the humans couldn't contact the other colonies hiding across the stars. "We don't have much time," said Mila, his closest friend, through his earpiece. "The aliens are getting closer. We picked up movement 3 zones away. I'll finish the repairs," Rian replied. "Keep the kids inside the bunker." Back in the deep sky above the planet, a dark ship moved silently. Inside that ship stood Zira. Zira was not human. She was tall, fast, and trained to hunt. Her skin was smooth, silver blue, and her eyes glowed faintly. She wore light armor. Built for speed and silence, her mission was clear track and eliminate any remaining humans on VELA or DOT. She had been created for this task. Not born, but built, genetically shaped by her people, the Ruvaks, who believed humans were a threat to the balance of the galaxy. But Zira had never seen a human before. Not in real life, only in old records. Her training had taught her that humans were dangerous, greedy, and violent. Her commander, Threx, appeared on the screen. "You will land alone. Your implant will send us updates. We'll join once the area is cleared. Be quick, Zira." Zira nodded. Understood. Her pod dropped fast through the clouds and landed deep in the jungle. The moment she stepped out, her system glitched. The planet's strange energy fields interfered with her visor and weapons. She had to move without support, but she didn't slow down. Her senses were sharp. She followed footprints, heat trails, broken branches. She was getting close meanwhile. Rian worked fast on the tower. He had no idea he was being watched. The jungle behind him was quiet. Too quiet. Zira moved like a shadow. She reached a high branch and spotted him. He was younger than she expected, wearing worn clothes and carrying tools. No weapon. He didn't look like a threat. She aimed her small pulse blade at him. One throw, and the job would be done. But then he turned his head slightly, as if he sensed her. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He just looked around, calm and steady. Something about that made her stop. Then, suddenly, the branch she stood on snapped. It wasn't strong enough to hold her weight. Zira fell, rolled, and landed with a thud. Before she could stand, a trap triggered a net launched from the ground and wrapped around her. She struggled. The net wasn't strong, but it was clever. Rian had built it using scrap metal and wires. He walked over slowly and stared at her. "You're not from around here," he said. Zira didn't speak. Her implant warned her not to. He looked at her armor, her weapon, and then at her eyes. She didn't look angry. She looked surprised. "You're here to hunt us, aren't you?" he asked. Still, she said nothing. She used her blade to cut the net. But when she stood up, Rian had already stepped back. He didn't try to fight. Instead, he smiled slightly. "I don't fight unless I have to. You're not the first one who's come looking for us." Then he turned and walked away into the trees. Zira could have chased him, but she didn't. Something about his calmness held her back. He had her in a trap. He could have finished her, but he didn't. She stood there, confused. Her training never said anything about humans like this. Back at the human camp, Rian returned to the bunker. Mila was waiting. "You're late," she said. "Did something happen?" "I met someone." Rian said. "Alien?" He nodded. "Yes, a hunter. But she didn't attack, and I didn't either." Mila frowned. "You let her go. She was watching me. I think she was testing me. I set a trap, and she fell in it. But I let her out." "Are you out of your mind?" "No," Rian said. "I think we have a chance. She's not like the others. She didn't kill." She looked unsure. Mila looked worried. "That could be dangerous, or it could be our first break," Rian said. "If we can make one of them doubt the mission, maybe others will follow." Mila sighed. "Just be careful. The others need you. If you're wrong, we lose everything. I'll be careful, he promised. In the jungle, Zero watched the lights from the bunker fade in the distance. Her implant buzzed. A message from Threx. Report. She didn't respond right away. When she finally answered, she simply said, still searching. No contact yet. It was a lie. But she didn't know why she told it. The forest of Veller was quiet again. A soft wind moved through the tall trees. Somewhere above, dark clouds rolled across the red sky. Birds flew in groups. But even they stayed away from the hunter. Zero moved carefully through the trees, stepping over roots and rocks. Her scanner was still not working. The planet's energy was interfering with everything. Her armor flickered. Her weapon charge was low. But her mission was clear: find the humans and finish the job. She kept thinking about the one she met. He was strange. He looked her in the eye but did not fear her. He set a trap but did not harm her. That was not what she expected. Zero had studied humans in training. Videos showed them fighting, destroying, running wild. But this human had looked calm. He had been kind, even though she was a threat. She remembered his words, "You're not from around here." Simple words, but they stayed in her mind. Still, she had orders. She had a job. The implant in her head reminded her again. Mission not complete. Human threat must be removed. She stopped at a small cliff and looked down. Below, there was a clearing. A camp, but not the main bunker. It looked like a supply post. One small shelter, a few crates. Some tools left on a table. Zero saw movement. It was Rion again. He was alone, fixing something. A power cell, maybe. He moved with care. He didn't look afraid. He worked fast, then stood to stretch his back. He looked around like he could sense her again. Zero didn't move. She stayed high in the trees. She didn't draw her weapon. She waited. Rion suddenly turned and spoke. "I know you're there." Zero froze. She didn't expect him to speak to the trees. "I don't know your name," he said. "But I'm not here to fight." Zero didn't reply. She stayed still. "I left water near the rock," Rion said. "I saw your step pattern. You're moving slower now. The energy field here messes with tech. You might need a break." He pointed to a flat rock nearby. A bottle of water stood on it. Zero blinked. She didn't understand. Why would a human help her? She waited for a trap. She scanned the area with her eyes. No mines, no lasers, just water. After a few minutes, she climbed down quietly and moved toward the rock. She picked up the bottle and smelled it. Clean water from the shelter. Rion turned his back and kept working. Zero looked at him one more time, then walked into the trees again. Carrying the water. Back at the bunker, Mila checked the radar. Still no sign of new ships in orbit. That was good, but she didn't feel safe. Rion returned a few hours later. "Where were you?" Mila asked. "I went to the outpost. Fixed the power cell." "You went alone." "I had company," he said, and sat down. Mila looked at him. "You saw her again?" Rion nodded. "She followed me. I left water for her." Mila looked shocked. "You gave her water?" "Rion, she's a hunter. She's not going to turn into a friend." "I don't know," Rion said. "Maybe she will. She didn't hurt me. She could have done it easily. Or she's studying you, getting closer so she can strike later." "Maybe," he said. But something in her eyes. She's thinking. She's not just following orders like a machine. I saw doubt. Mila crossed her arms. "I don't trust her, and you shouldn't either." "I'm not trusting her," Rion replied. "I'm giving her a choice." The next day, Zero sat by a small stream. She had finished the water Rion gave her. She thought about the way he looked at her. He didn't see her as a monster. He treated her like a person. That was new. Her implant buzzed again. Update required. Mission status. Zero stared at the trees. Her hand moved toward the communicator, but she didn't speak. She turned it off. The implant stung her lightly. It was a warning, but she didn't care. She stood and looked toward the bunker. She knew where it was. She had found its location 2 days ago. If she wanted to, she could break in and finish the mission. But her steps didn't go that way. They turned toward the old tower, toward Rian. He was working again, fixing wires. This time he didn't stop when she came near. "You came back," he said, still looking at the wires. "You gave me water," Zira said. Her voice was soft but clear. Rian looked up, surprised. "So you can speak," he said. "I don't speak often." "Why now?" "I wanted to understand," she said. "Why didn't you kill me?" "I don't kill anyone unless they try to kill me first," Rian said. Zira sat on a low rock. She looked at the tools on the ground. "I was made to hunt humans," she said. "That's what I am." "You're not a machine," Rian replied. "You made a choice. You didn't attack." She looked at the sky. "My people think humans are dangerous. Some are," Rian said. "But not all. Same as yours." They sat in silence for a while. The wind moved the leaves above them. Zira stood slowly. "If my commander finds out I'm talking to you, he'll send others." "He probably already did," Rian said. "That's why I wanted to talk to you first." Zira turned to leave. "I'll be back," she said. "I'll be here," Rian replied. She disappeared into the trees. For the first time in her life, Zira felt unsure of her mission. Not because she failed, but because she didn't want to complete it anymore. The sun on Veller never looked bright, but this morning felt warmer than usual. A soft orange light passed through the tall trees, and the forest was silent, as if the world was waiting for something to happen. Rian checked the power grid map on his tablet. Mila stood beside him. Her face was tired. She hadn't slept much. "The outer line is failing again," she said. Rian nodded. "I'll go fix it." Mila didn't like that. "She might be watching." "I hope she is," Rian replied. "I need to talk to her again." Mila crossed her arms. "What if she changes her mind and attacks?" Rian looked calm. "Then I'll take that risk." He picked up his tools and walked into the trees. Far away, Zira stood on a branch, watching the forest below. She saw Rian moving through the undergrowth. She stayed silent. Her eyes followed him. Her implant gave another warning. This one was stronger. "Danger. Hunter failing mission protocol. Report immediately." She ignored it. The pain increased for a moment. Her vision flickered. But she stayed still. After a few seconds, it stopped. The implant gave up for now. She knew. She was being watched, not just by Rian, but by something else, something from above. The command ship might have sent a drone. She could feel it in her bones. If they found out she was hesitating, they would send others. And the next hunter would not be so kind. She moved from branch to branch, following Rian. He stopped at a broken tower. He set his tools down and looked around. "I know you're close," he said without turning. Zira stepped out from the trees. "You always know where I am," she said. "I can feel it," he replied. "You move like the wind, but the air changes when you're near." Zira smiled a little. It was the first time she had smiled in many years. "I have questions," she said. "Then ask." "Why do you fight for your people when you are always outnumbered?" "Because someone has to," Rian said. "If we give up, we stop being human." "Why do you trust me?" "I don't fully trust you," Rian said. "But I see something in you. You're not just a hunter. You're more than what they made." "You?" Zira looked down. Her hands were shaking. The implant inside her skull started buzzing again. She dropped to her knees and held her head. Rian rushed to her side. "What's wrong?" "The implant," she said. "It's warning me. I'm breaking orders. Can I help?" Zira nodded. "There's a small panel at the back of my neck." Rian looked and found it. It was hidden under her armor. Carefully, he opened it. A soft light blinked inside. The device was active. "I've seen something like this before," Rian said. "I can weaken the signal, but not remove it. Not here." "Do what you can," Zira said, breathing hard. He connected a wire from his tool to the implant. His fingers moved quickly. After a few minutes, the light turned red, then yellow, then dimmed. Zira let out a deep breath. The pain stopped. She looked up at him. "You did it," she whispered. "Only for now," Rian said. "They'll know something is wrong. You need to decide what you really want." Zira stood slowly. "I don't want to be a weapon anymore." Rian nodded. Then let's start with that, but high above, in the orbit of Velar. Commander Threx stood in front of a screen. He watched the last report from Zira. Then silence, no update in hours. He said to his officer, "Her tracker still works, but no mission logs are being sent," the officer replied. Threx narrowed his eyes. "She's broken protocol. Prepare. The drone? Send it now. I want to know what she's doing." The officer nodded. A small black drone launched from the ship. It entered the atmosphere quickly and disappeared behind the clouds. Back on the planet, Zira walked beside Rion through the forest. She looked around carefully. Something felt wrong. "We're being watched," she said. "Another hunter?" Rion asked. "No," she said. "A drone." Rion picked up the pace. "We need to move. If they see you with me, they'll send more than just one drone." They ran through the forest until they reached an old cave hidden behind a waterfall. Rion pushed aside a thick branch and opened a metal door. "This is one of our emergency shelters," he said. Zira stepped inside. The room was dark but safe. She sat on the floor and leaned back. "I've never run from my people before," she said. "You're not running," Rion said. "You're choosing." Zira looked at him. "What if they send others?" "Then we show them you're not the enemy," he said. "You're proof that change is possible." She closed her eyes. For the first time, her mind felt clear. The implant was quiet. Her heart beat slowly, peacefully. Rion sat near her. He didn't speak. He just waited. After a while, Zira opened her eyes again. "Will your people ever trust me?" "Some won't," Rion said honestly. "But some already do." She nodded. In the distance, the drone passed over the trees. Its scanner picked up the last known heat signals. It saw two figures, one human, one alien, sitting together in a cave. It sent the image back to the command ship. Threx saw the report. He slammed his fist on the table. "She's turned," he growled. "Prepare. A strike team." The sky over Velar turned dark as storm clouds gathered. A soft rumble echoed across the land. Wind moved through the trees, carrying the scent of rain. But deep inside the shelter cave, the world felt quiet and still. Zira sat near the wall, watching the soft blue light from the old battery box. Rion worked beside her, fixing a small screen. His hands were quick, but his face showed worry. "They've seen us," Zira said. Rion looked up. "You're sure?" "I know how the drones work. They would have sent the image to Commander Threx by now." Rion nodded. "Then we don't have much time." Zira stood and paced slowly. Her mind was full of questions. The implant in her head was quiet for now, but she knew it wouldn't stay that way forever. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because you helped me first," Rion said. "I didn't do much. You didn't kill me. You didn't report me. That's more than enough." Zira sat back down. "Your people will never fully accept me. Maybe not all of them," Rion said. "But Mila trusts my judgment. She'll listen." Zira smiled slightly. "She doesn't like me. She doesn't know you yet." Outside the cave, Mila stood in the rain near the bunker door. She checked the radar screen. Again, no sign of ships above, but something felt wrong. She looked over her shoulder as the door opened behind her. One of the guards stepped out. "Still no signal from Rion?" Mila shook her head. "He's been gone too long. Should we send a team?" "Not yet," she said. "If he's with her, they might be hiding. A large group could scare them off or attract something worse, far away." High above the planet, Commander Threx stood before his soldiers. His face was cold, his voice sharp. "Zira has broken loyalty," he said. "She has joined the humans. This cannot be allowed." The room was silent. "You will go down in 2 hours. Destroy the human base. Bring Zira back alive if possible. Dead if needed." The soldiers nodded. Their armor was black and strong. Their weapons were charged. Threx looked at the screen again. The drone had sent another signal. Zira and Rion were moving through the jungle again, heading toward the bunker. "They're preparing for something," he said, "and it before they get the chance." Back on Velar, rain poured from the sky as Rion and Zira ran through the forest. Zira moved ahead, scanning the area. "We need to reach Mila," Rion said. She has the tech to shut down your implant for good. And if your people see me, Zira asked, they'll listen to me. Zira didn't answer. She wasn't so sure. They reached the bunker entrance. 2 guards pointed weapons at Zira. At once, step back. One shouted. She's with me, Rian said quickly. She's not a threat. She's the hunter. The other guard replied. She's one of them. Mila came running. She looked at Zira, then at Rian. What are you doing? She asked. She's on our side, Rian said. Mila stared at him. Are you sure? She saved me. She warned me. She turned off her link to the enemy. Zira raised her hand slowly. I'm not here to harm anyone. The guards still didn't lower their weapons. Mila took a deep breath. Let them in. The guards moved aside. Inside the bunker, Zira felt the eyes of many humans watching her. Some looked scared. Some looked angry. Others whispered to each other. Rian stayed close beside her. Mila led them to the back lab. She opened a box of old tech and pulled out a small chip. This can block the command signal, she said. It was made for captured scouts. It should work on her implant. Zira sat down. Do it. Rian held her hand. She didn't pull away. Mila placed the chip behind Zira's ear. A small click sounded. The implant buzzed once, then stopped. The signal was cut. Zira let out a slow breath. It's done, Mila said. They can't control you anymore. Zira stood. Thank you. Suddenly, the alarm rang through the bunker. Red lights flashed. Enemy ship entering atmosphere. A voice called. They're here, Zira said. Rian looked at the screen. A large transport ship had entered Veller's sky. Smaller fighter drones followed behind. They're going to attack the base, Mila said. We need to prepare the old defense system, Rian said. It's the only way we survive. It hasn't worked in years, Mila replied. I fixed part of it last month. With a little more time, we can bring it online. I'll help you, Zira said. Mila looked at her. You're one of them. They'll come for you first. Then let them come, Zira said. I'll stand with the humans. Rian smiled. Then we fight together. Outside, the sound of thunder grew louder, but it wasn't the storm. It was the sound of ships landing. Dust rose from the forest floor. Shadows moved between the trees. The final battle was coming. But this time, the hunter stood with the hunted. Smoke rose slowly from the thick jungle as the alien dropships landed one by one. Tall, dark trees bent under the pressure of their engines. The air shook. Small animals ran away. A heavy silence followed. Commander Threx stood at the edge of the largest ship, staring toward the direction of the human bunker. His eyes were full of anger. She betrayed us, he said to his second in command. The soldier nodded. She is no longer responding to signals. Threx clenched his fists. Then we erased her. We erased them all. Behind him, a group of Ruvek warriors waited, armed and ready. Their armor was black and smooth, their weapons glowing softly with energy. They were trained, emotionless, and loyal to their leader. They knew their mission: find Zira and destroy the human base. At the same time, inside the underground human bunker, people rushed through the hallways. Sirens rang above them. Children were guided into deeper shelter rooms. Some carried boxes. Others moved equipment. Fear showed in every face. In the control room, Rian and Mila worked quickly. They stood in front of a large screen that showed defense levels and power connections. Zira stood beside them, watching the screen as well. The outer sensors just went dark, Mila said. They're close, Rian nodded. We have minutes, not ours. Zira looked at the screen. They will attack from 3 sides. They know the layout. How do we stop them? Mila asked. There's an old defense system underground. Rian said. It hasn't worked for years, but I've repaired most of it. If we power it up now, it could protect the base. Zira stepped forward. I'll help hold them off while you activate it. You'll be outnumbered, Rian said. I don't care. I was trained to fight. I'll use it to protect, not destroy. Rian looked at her for a second, then nodded. Be careful, he said. Zira walked to the armory. Mila followed her. Inside the armory, old weapons and armor were stacked on metal shelves. Zira picked a light chest plate and a blade. She didn't need much. Her speed and skill were enough. Mila watched her quietly. After a moment, she said, I still don't trust you fully. But I see you're fighting for us now. Zira nodded. That's all I ask. As Zira left the bunker, she passed several humans hiding in corners. Some stared at her. Some backed away. One little girl peeked from behind her mother and whispered, Is she going to save us? Zira didn't speak, but she gave a small nod. Outside, the rain had stopped. The trees were quiet again, but the smell of smoke was strong. Zira moved through the jungle like a shadow. She climbed a high branch and watched. In the distance, she saw the enemy forces moving slowly toward the bunker. Drones flew above the trees. Soldiers moved on foot, scanning the area. She took a deep breath and jumped down, back inside. Rian and Mila reached the lower power room. It was dark and filled with old wires and broken parts. Rian pulled out his tools and started connecting. Power lines. I'll keep the flow steady, Mila said. You start the main core. Rian wiped sweat from his forehead. We only get one chance. If this fails, the whole base is open. Up above, the first shot was fired. A drone spotted the entrance and opened fire. A blast hit the metal wall, shaking the bunker. Guards rushed to the surface and returned fire. Zira leapt from the trees, striking to enemy soldiers before they saw her. She moved fast, her blade flashing, her body light on the ground. Every move was clean and sharp. One drone flew at her, scanning. She threw a small metal piece she had taken from the bunker. It exploded in the air, destroying the drone. More enemy soldiers came. They circled the base. Explosions lit up the trees. Inside, Rian connected the last wire. The defense system core started to hum. It's working, Mila said. The system is charging. Keep it going, Rian said. We need at least 5 more minutes. Zira fought without pause. Her old team soldiers she had once trained with now stood against her. She knew their methods, their steps, their timing. That gave her an edge. But there were many. One soldier hit her shoulder with a pulse shot. She dropped for a second, breathing hard, then stood again. She didn't stop. Rian's voice came through the comlink. Zira, the system is almost ready. Zira answered, Hold them for 1 more minute. A blast hit near her. She rolled and landed beside a fallen tree. She looked up and saw a tall figure walking through the smoke. Commander Threx. He raised his weapon. You've made a mistake, Zira. She stood slowly. I made a choice. You were the best. You were built for this, and now I fight. For something better, she said. Threx aimed his weapon. Zira charged. Their weapons clashed. Blades sparked. Threx was strong, but Zira was faster. They fought hard in the smoke and light. At the same time, deep underground. Rian pulled the final lever. The defense system roared to life. Bright energy shields rose from the ground around the bunker. Pulse cannons activated. Drones in the sky were shot down one by one. Mila smiled. It worked. On the surface, the enemy soldiers stopped. Their scanners showed red lights. Defense fields were active. More blasts came from the bunker, forcing them to retreat. Zira and Threx were still fighting. Threx growled, You will fall. No, Zira said, and with a final strike, she knocked his weapon from his hand and pushed him back. He stumbled and hit the ground. Zira pointed her blade at him. Go, she said. Threx looked at her, angry and defeated. Then he vanished into the trees. Zira turned toward the bunker. She saw the humans standing strong. She walked back, tired and wounded, but still on her feet. Rian met her at the gate. You did it, he said. No. Zira said softly, We did it. The first light of dawn touched the sky. Soft golden rays broke through the clouds. Smoke still floated in the air, but the fires had stopped. The forest stood quiet after the long night of battle. Inside the bunker, people worked silently. Some treated the wounded, others repaired broken systems. Everyone moved with tired hands but focused minds. Zira sat in the medical room, her shoulder bandaged. She stared at the wall. Her body hurt, but her heart felt calm. Rian walked in carrying a small data pad. How are you feeling? He asked. I've been worse, Zira said. You saved a lot of lives last night. He told her. Zira looked down. I only did what I knew was right. Rian nodded. That's more than enough. Mila entered the room with a worried face. We picked up movement in orbit. Zira stood quickly. What kind of movement? A large ship. Bigger than before, Mila replied. It's not just a squad. It's the command ship. Zira knew what that meant. Commander Threx had returned. And this time, he wasn't coming quietly. He's not just here to finish the mission, she said. He's here to wipe out everyone. Rian looked at her. How do we stop him? Zira thought for a moment. There's only one way. We take out the command ship before it reaches the surface. That ship is strong, Mila said. And our launch crafts can't reach it. There's one option, Rian said. The old Aegis fighter. Zira turned to him. The prototype ship. It was hidden in the deep cave tunnel. My father worked on it. I helped finish its systems. Mila looked surprised. That thing was never tested. It's the only ship with enough speed to reach orbit, Rian replied. And Zira's the only one fast enough to pilot it. Zira looked at both of them. Then I'll do it. You're injured, Mila said. I'll manage. Zira answered. If I don't go, no one will. Rian took a breath. Then I'm going with you. You won't survive in space without training, Zira said. I won't be flying, Rian replied. I'll run the support system and guide you from the second seat. Zira didn't argue. She only nodded. The team moved fast. A group of engineers opened the sealed tunnel. Inside the hidden chamber, the Aegis stood quiet and dusty. Its silver body was long, sharp, and built for speed. The engines glowed faintly. Rian powered up the core. The lights came on. The engines hummed. It's still working, he said to Zira. Stepped into the pilot's seat. Her fingers moved across the controls like she had flown the ship before. It felt right, strapping. She said. Rian sat beside her and locked the harness. Mila's voice came through the comm, tracking the enemy ship now. It will reach firing range in 30 minutes. Zira pushed the throttle. The Aegis rose from the ground, shaking dust from its wings, ready for launch. She said. The doors opened above, and the ship flew out like a streak of light up in space. Commander Threx stood on the bridge of his command ship. His face showed no emotion. Weapons ready, said his officer. Target, human bunker. Threx raised his hand. Wait for my order. Suddenly, the ship's radar picked up a fast signal. One small craft moving toward them, a known ship approaching. The officer said, Destroy it. Threx ordered. The Aegis spun through the stars, dodging blasts. Zira moved like wind. Turning the ship left, right, upward, Rian called out. The enemy's positions. They're locking on, Rian warned. I see it, Zira said. Pulling the ship into a dive and then rising quickly. Two enemy drones followed them. Zira fired once, hitting both with one shot. We're close to the main ship, Rian said. Zira focused. We'll hit the shield first. Then we'll have 10 seconds to get inside before it repairs, Rian added. Hold on, Zira said. The Aegis flew straight toward the command ship. A bright field of energy blocked the path. Zira pressed the trigger. The front gun launched. A high-energy pulse. The shield flickered. Now, Rian shouted. Zira pushed the ship forward. It passed through the broken shield and flew into the open dock. The ship landed hard. Sparks flew. But both pilots were safe. Zira and Rian jumped out and ran toward the control center. Inside the hallway, enemy soldiers stood ready. Zira fought fast, using only her blade. Rian stayed behind her, firing a small blaster. They moved through the ship, hallway by hallway, until they reached the core room. Commander Threx waited there. So you came after all, he said. Zira stepped forward. This ends now. You were built to serve, Threx said. You failed your purpose. No, Zira replied. I found it. They charged at each other. Blades clashed again. Rian ran to the control panel. He inserted a small chip and started the self-destruct sequence. Zira and Threx fought hard. Sparks lit the room. Zira used all her strength, every lesson, every memory. Finally, she knocked Threx down. You lost, she said. He tried to stand, but she kicked his blade away. Rian shouted, "The ship will blow in 5 minutes." Zira turned, "Then let's go." They ran back to the Aegis. Enemy fire hit around them. One blast hit near Rian's side. He fell. Zira grabbed him. "Come on." He stood, limping, and they climbed into the ship. Zira took the controls. "We're leaving." The Aegis launched from the hangar. Behind them, the command ship started to shake. A bright light flashed, then silence. From the ground, Mila saw the explosion in the sky. Cheers broke out in the bunker. In the Aegis, Rian leaned back. "We did it?" Zira looked at him and smiled. Together. The stars were quiet again. The Aegis flew through the upper atmosphere, smoke trailing behind its wings. Inside, Zira kept her hand steady on the controls. Rian sat beside her, his eyes half closed, his arm wrapped in a bandage. "We're going to make it," she said softly. Rian gave a weak smile. "I didn't think I'd see the sky again." "You're lucky I'm a better pilot than fighter," she replied. The ship dropped below the clouds. The valley appeared far below, green trees, winding rivers. In the silver domes of the human outpost, people were outside, looking up. Zira activated the comms. "This is Zira. We're coming home." Cheers echoed from the ground. As the Aegis landed, the crowd gathered. Mila stood at the front, her eyes wide with relief. Children waved. Engineers clapped. Old and young looked at the sky like it was theirs again. Zira helped Rian out of the ship. The people made way, cheering louder. "You did it," Mila said, rushing to hug Rian. "Both of you." Zira stepped back, unsure how to respond. Mila turned to her. "You're one of us now." Zira looked down. "I'm not human." Rian answered, "You are more human than anyone I've ever known." She looked at him. His words made something warm grow in her chest. The leaders of the colony held a small meeting that evening, around a campfire, with quiet music in the background. They discussed the future. The enemy fleet was gone, the command ship destroyed. No signals had come from orbit since the battle. "We don't know if more of them will come," Mila said. "But we are ready now," Rian added. "We are no longer just survivors. We are protectors." Zira stood silently, listening. "We need to rebuild," said an elder. "But more than that, we need to live, and live free." Someone added. People nodded. Later, Zira walked alone to the edge of the cliff that overlooked the valley. The stars above shined bright. She remembered her first day on this planet, cold, empty, full of orders. Now the silence felt peaceful. Rian walked up behind her. "You always come here," he said. "It's quiet." She replied. He stood beside her. "You know, before all this, I thought you were just a hunter, a machine. But you changed." "I didn't know I could," she admitted. "But meeting you, Mila, the others, it showed me something I never understood." He smiled. "That we're not so different." She nodded. He looked at the sky. "We're planning to build a new watchtower, a place to scan the stars, see what's coming. We'll need help from someone who understands both sides." "You mean me?" "You're the bridge between two worlds, Zira. You know how they think. And now, you know what we fight for." Zira didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I'll help." Rian smiled. "Good." The next day, work began. The colony buzzed with life. People repaired buildings, planted gardens, and set up new defense lines. For the first time in many months, laughter returned. Zira trained the guards. She showed them how to think like a hunter, but protect like a guardian. Rian worked in the tech center. He rebuilt the communication tower to reach far systems. One evening, Mila walked up to Zira. "We got a signal," she said. Zira turned. "From where?" "We're not sure. It's not one of theirs. It sounds human." Zira and Rian listened to the recording. It was short, broken by static, but clear enough. "This is Colony 9, survivors. Peace mission is anyone." There, Rian looked at Zira. "There are others." Zira smiled softly. "Then we're not alone anymore." They answered the message. Days passed, then a reply came. Another group of humans hidden on a nearby moon. They had survived too, and they wanted to join, to build together. Soon, a ship arrived from that moon. More people, More hands, more hope. Zira stood at the landing pad when the visitors came. One child stepped down and stared at her. Are you really the one who saved everyone? The child asked. Zira knelt. I helped, but everyone here made it happen. The child smiled and ran to greet the others. Rian came to her side. Look at what we've started, he said. Zira looked around. The valley was full of life. Humans from 2 colonies working together, building homes, growing food, watching stars. This is just the beginning, she said. Rian asked, do you ever think of going back? Zira shook her head. There's nothing left there for me. This is my home now. You're sure? She looked at him. I've never been more sure of anything. As night came again, the stars glowed above. But now, they held no fear. They were lights of possibility. Zira walked among the people. She helped fix fences. She taught kids how to move quietly in the forest. She watched the sky not with suspicion, but with wonder. She was no longer a hunter. She was a protector, a friend, a symbol of change. And beside her, always, was Rian, a boy who had once been her target but became her reason. Together, they faced the stars, and together, they waited for what came next. Not with fear, but with hope.